Hello there. It is I, Mr. Dungeon Man, here with book and no rehearsal, because I'd started setting up everything today, which is to say a few hours ago. Okay. If you're watching this live, it's not Valentine's Day, but if you're watching this on YouTube, it is Valentine's Day. Unless you watched it after the day it came out, in which case it would no longer be Valentine's Day. Unless you watched it the year afterward, in which case it's exactly on Valentine's Day. In which case you'd be watching it on Valentine's Day. I come to you tonight with literature to be read in a intimate manner. With this book that totally doesn't have a phone behind it. And I will turn on the brightness of it. Ooh, the light is cascading blue across my face because there is a beverage here that I may imbibe. Delectable. Now, what we find is a most heated tale that is in no way true about 3 key characters in this little world that I've created. And I will try to finish it before my fucking house burns down. The page didn't actually turn because my phone's in the way. Sylvie sighed, foot secure on the adjacent brick of the building, fighting herself mentally over the decision. The group was asleep. She'd made sure of that before sneaking out into the night in search of her beloved Jarvis. None of the members knew about her plan, to finally spend time alone with the one she'd felt drawn to, but in this moment, she thanks the darkness for her cover. Sneaking into someone's window in the middle of the night was never a good idea. She stretches, fingers grasping the sill of the window. Yes, I can read. Before sitting her other hand on the board, pulling herself as close to the closed window as possible, peeking through the glass. There, in the bed, lay Jarvis, form slightly expanding with every deep breath. She smiled, looking over his face, feeling the excitement of the situation hit her. She takes another deep inhale before slowly sliding the window open, draping a foot through the entrance and wriggling her body through. She patted across the floor, suddenly hit with the realization of how stupid this was. This is extremely on brand. No, it isn't. Sebby would never realize how stupid what they're doing was. He barely knew her. But here she was, sneaking into his bedroom, hoping for a night of passion before her crew moved out onto the next town. Her hand raised for her face, imagining him waking, startled and drawing a blade. Or worse. She steps backwards towards the window, pausing with a cringe as the floorboard creaked beneath her foot. She slowly turns towards Jarvis, who sat up in bed, rubbing his eye. Sylvie, he blinked, trying to make out her form in the moonlight. Yes. Hi. She waved awkwardly. What are you doing here? Did you break into my room? Technically, but I'm not here to harm you. I promise. She outstretches her hands, slowly approaching his bed. See? No weapons. Just a stick. That doesn't explain why you're here. He crosses his arms as Sylvie slowly moves to sit on the edge of the bed. I wanted to see you. I wanted to say goodbye. What? She sighs, turning towards him. We're leaving, and I wanted to spend the night with you before we went, if you wanted to. Yes! He clears his throat, realizing how loud he'd just been. I've been wanting to find some time to get to know you, I mean. Not that we have to do anything if you just wanted to talk. It's been a while since I've been with another. So I wasn't exactly planning on just talking. I came here to make love. Honestly. The half-elf gasped, reaching out for a hand. The words on the page keep sliding down to the bottom of the page. There's no phone, I swear. Where was I? Hello, I speak for purpose on the internet. Yes, the half-elf gasped, reaching out for a hand, pulling himself close. I've never had someone suggest that, but I feel the same. Should we? She smiled, pushing her blouse... Oh, blouse. Okay. Pushing her blouse open before taking his hand and leaning into him for a kiss. With a little addendum here, it's meant to take note of the fact that one of our viewers, Jolene, has taken over to this writing process. And I am afraid. I do not know much of Jolene, but what I do know is, in a word, startling. Jarvis quickly stands up, leaning into the kiss. His hands explore the expanse of Selby's newly exposed torso, feeling fresh skin after... God. Feeling fresh skin after what felt like ages. Her own slid up to his hair, fingers intertwined with the soft locks cascading from his scalp. She pushed her leg forward. Okay. I'm going to have to do some on-the-spot censorship with fun alternative thesaurus words. Do you all hear that? It sounds like soon-to-be dead party members. Not realizing that the Illithid has 30 cousins that are in the room with him. Where was I? Ah, yes. She pushed her leg forward, Jarvis's naughty bits making contact before he'd started to grind himself. Selby, he'd moaned into the kiss, lips fervent, goodness gracious, in a haste exploration of each other. I need you, nail. Selby's voice was magic to his ears. The pair quickly falling upon the tavern bed he'd been slumbering upon minutes prior. She wasted no time in straddling the man, lips trailing down his jaw. The noises Jarvis made were heavenly. Soft, quiet groans leaving him the more Selby's hands teased him. The ministrations continue. Ooh, that's a $5 word right there. I appreciate that. Continued until the two had enough sex drives going haywire as the floor quickly held a mess of discarded clothes. Ah, Jarvis groaned. Are you sure you want to do this? Selby could feel the temperature rise around her, a burning need rising within her core as she held Jarvis to her waiting stuff. Are you? I will make every possible effort to make this as less sexy as humanly possible.
Howard! Yeah, because the voice was already doing that. The words are there, just read it!
Everybody's a critic.
Yeah.
He nodded his head far too eagerly. Yes, please! Jarvis's head tilted back, jaw hung slack in desperate pleasure as Selby's descended upon him. The man could barely figure out where to put his hands before they were guided to her hips, gripping her as if his life depended on it. She rode him dutifully, trying her best not to be loud as the sounds of skin on skin filled the room. Jarvis, on the other hand, was not so reserved in his vocalizations. Sylvie! He all but moaned her name. Oh my God, Sylvie! His hips bucked into her. Positions be damned, he needed this sweet smash more than ever before. Not even his wife had felt this good. It was almost a shame that it were to only last for but one night. Oh god, there's more. How much is there? Oh, not much. I have been blessed. As the pair grew closer and closer to the unavoidable apex of Eden, Jarvis grabbed Sylvie close before rolling over. His hands found penchant on her knees, spreading them apart as he did the locomotion into her. Sylvie finding it increasingly hard to keep quiet. At this point, everyone would know they banged. And yet, she was fine with that. Nothing mattered but the stupid phone. I mean book that happens to have a phone in it. Nothing mattered but the coil winding within her, each thrust of Jarvis' hips driving her nerves wild. Jarvis, Sylvie called out. Ingle your hips up, please. The man couldn't help but obey his love, hips rolling up as he desperately slammed into her. Please tell me... Oh, wait, no, that's not right. Please tell me you're close, Jarvis whined, breath ragged. Just a little more. It only took moments before Sylvie completed. Around Jarvis, the spasm of her inner workings. I committed to this. This is what I said I was going to do. Twitch chat, if you have... Twitch police, please. If you're there. I'm being very careful to not be too explicit. And if the YouTube police are watching, I label this video as not safe for children. You can't do anything to me. Yeah, this video... Even if we did have enough subscribers and views, there's no way this would get monetized. Where was I? Ah, yes. With a loud groan, the man's distributed his fluids accordingly. Jesus. They stayed like that for a moment longer, foreheads touching as their brief moment of sweaty... Oh god, I hate that. Sweaty love, not pleasant to read, came to an end. Will I see you again? Jarvis had sounded so utterly wistful, breath heaving as he removed himself with a wince. Perhaps. Time to take some creative liberty. Magnus, are you done yet? The bored Quattro yawned, completely disinterested in the rather detailed smut. Jolene, if you're watching this, I apologize if you take offense to my minor addition.
What?
He simply stared at the fish. Don't you want to know if they get back together? Not really, man. We just need directions to the nearest Chipotle. Magus sighed, completely miserable, with a completely miserable look on his face. Turn left at the next exit, then it's got a big neon sign. You really don't want to hear the rest? What about my sequel, where they fuck on top of a mountain surrounded by screaming goats? Boom, end of the smut. Thanks. Follow us on Twitter. Thanks, bye. From Jolene. I put up with so much and received so little back. But it was fun, and that's all that matters. Who is Dallas Boo?
I don't think that's someone we know. I think that's a person we don't know, actually.
Oh no! Well, I guess it's time for our Q&A portion. Yeah, just go around the back.
Okay. That's what Zoe said.
Yes, come on around the back.
Oh, whoa!
We'll sit over here.
Harry, you are not helping the situation.
Oh god.
Before everyone gets situated here and people get, oh yeah, while everyone's getting in here, everyone like starts submitting questions to the chat, and they'll come in and ask the questions to me, and if no one ends up asking questions, they'll just pretend someone asks a question and ask questions that they have for me. In the meantime, this video will be up on YouTube on Valentine's Day. And in case someone is wondering if I'm heavily intoxicating myself, this is cran grape juice.
So extremely.
This blesses my endocrine system.
Plot twist, Harrison has auto brewery syndrome.
Auto what now?
Auto brewery syndrome?
Brewery.
Cat, no!
What did Cat say?
How long was Jarvis's cough? Yeah, perfect Cadillac. Hey, you're the DM. What is it? What's the answer? How long was Jarvis's cock? You're the DM. Come on.
See, the thing about half-elves is that the mixture of, in this case, human and elf D&D means they have no penis. No.
Oh God.
It is, unknown.
Unknown.
It can change.
That is the hidden lore which you must make a very high history check for.
Oh, I'll roll a fucking nat 20 on
Nat
that.
20.
Nat 20s don't work on skill checks.
What?
I mean, not necessarily. Maybe a
Alright,
tentacle
got
or
it.
something. Does Jarvis have a tentacle?
Oh.
Maybe.
Such a we need to commission Jolene again.
My God, truly. Will you just spin? Jolene finds it endearing that we have a ship wheel, and for those of you who are not aware, we do have a ship wheel. That's a thing that we have.
So if you ever want to write something for us, Harrison will read it. You don't even.
No, hold on. This only happened because of a special occasion because enough people donated to the Patreon.
True. Thank y'all so fucking much for
Yes, actually, thank you. That money helps us buy things like cameras and more PVC pipe because I keep fucking up with the PVC pipe.
At the real Selby wants to know, will Jarvis share his cummies? Yes.
Oh, if there actually was alcohol in that glass.
You want some?
No!
How you feeling?
Oh.
Are you okay?
Yeah, what did you do? I heard that.
I went around like you asked me to, and I got injured.
Yeah, how?
No.
How did you get injured walking 15 feet?
Well, it was a funny story. So, I tripped over the lawnmower, then I hit the sprinkler, and then I twisted my ankle a little bit.
Holy shit, Andrew.
Harry will not say those words to me.
Yeah. Oh god, this story again.
No, I just saw what you said, Maria.
Is Harry getting banned?
Oh my God, are you fucking banning Harry?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying things in the chat.
Good God.
All right.
That's all.
No. Who actually does have questions? I'll do this for.
Questions.
I'll have questions until 8.
Jolene's awake.
Oh my god.
Read it again.
No.
Okay.
Get in the fucking stream, Jolene.
Sleepy should ask, will you put an actual NSFW uncensored version on Patreon?
Yeah, do it.
Now that you're familiar with the content.
I do believe Patreon allows you to post just videos as videos on it. I know that there are patron-specific content that you can release.
Oh, trust me, there's a lot of.
And I know there's a lot of NSFW content on Patreon.
Yep.
So sure, if people want it, I'll release it in all of its terrible glory. Oh yeah, Jolene, just so you know, I may have embellished a bit on the ending. I had it.
By embellished, he means he was a fucking coward.
Coward!
No, towards the ending.
Okay.
In the original ending, Magus is just explaining directions to Chipotle to Random Adventure. I made it the fish
True.
because I miss him dearly.
Jolene asked Harrison, what did you think of it?
Honestly, for someone's birthday, they made me read Steven Universe Pewee fanfiction. So honestly,
Oh.
Yeah.
honestly, this isn't my first rodeo, and it could have been, and I am thankful for how tame it was compared to previous iterations of my
Jolene, take that as a challenge.
Please don't. I'm fragile.
We're setting up a GoFundMe so you'll read more.
Next question. Any questions? I can't really see them from here.
No.
That's okay, I'm keeping an eye.
Yeah.
They give me questions about anything.
Is there any fun lore that you would like to share with us about things that we have completely left behind?
Yeah.
Baby and daddy.
I won't say anything you've left behind. I will say stuff about things that you will never possibly encounter in the history of this campaign.
Oh, okay.
Name any country. Name a country.
Yedorun?
No, like an actual country.
In real life?
Yeah.
Cool.
El Salvador.
Yeah.
See, there's a lot of stuff happening in El Salvador right now. And
Western Sahara.
Turkey.
well, Turkey?
Turkey.
Let's see. Well, Turkish and Saharan like stuff like Turkey. That's going to be around like the area that you guys are technically in. It's a lot of Eastern European stuff is happening in this setting. So Oh, look. Hi. Hi.
Perfect Cat 1 wants to know Finland.
Finland, actually, for Northern European places like Finland and Sweden and all that, there is an area on the opposite side of the world from where our current party is, called Chill Rift Hold, where there's a bunch of dwarves.
Chill Rift Hold?
Yeah, it's called Chill Rift Hold. It's a dwarf hold, and they all speak with a mixture. Well, when I use their dwarvish, I speak Dutch because I know a very little amount of Dutch.
Oh.
Both of us.
Harry asks, what's the most disappointed you've been when the group didn't do something you wanted or missed something?
It wasn't with this group.
Oh,
Really?
You were there. It was the one time I had to explicitly tell you to kill the dragon.
Oh yeah, because we didn't want to kill the dragon.
Yes! Okay, so...
Oh, he's been feeling this, huh?
I'm going to keep track of the questions that, as you're answering, are coming up.
So, the previous party, which consisted of a turtle who, for licensing purposes, is named Ogwi in this story, and not a certain other turtle's name.
He really fucked shit up for you guys, huh?
Oh, you don't know about Uncle.
Oh my god, Uncle.
But yeah, they were fighting a red dragon that was residing within the elemental plane of fire, and was also secretly a wizard.
Ooh.
Cool.
So honestly, it's my fault for describing that they rolled an insight check on him to determine his disposition, because they were trying to fool him into a false sense of security so that they could basically run up and stab him while pretending to be religious followers, because he was technically a big leader in the cult of the dragon. And I described it as you sense from him a sort of perverted loneliness, and they just heard you sense loneliness.
Aww.
Red dragons have a big thing where they love having their ego stroked constantly, and the only reason he survived is because he pushed that down and hid away in a separate plane.
Damn.
So he was
So they felt bad.
Yeah, they felt bad for the thing that has massacred thousands of people in cold blood.
But he's lonely.
You just wanted a friend.
He wanted fun.
Murder isn't murder if you're sad while you do it.
He wasn't sad. He enjoyed it.
Because he was sad.
He was sad because he was hiding away from the consequences of his actions. You know, murdering a bunch of people.
If you're sad usually, then anything that's not sad is happy, right? So that's why he was happy, because he wasn't sad when he was murdering people. It's acceptable.
Next question.
Okay,
Yes.
The next question
Is
is.
there any content?
Hang on. There's other questions in here that that were missed.
Wait, above that?
Yeah, above that. Dallas Abu wants to know if there's any content you love that the characters missed.
Yeah, that's what I was really about to say.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
The Blightwood.
The Whitewood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to go into the Blightwood.
I
but
really
no one
thought we
else
were
wanted
gonna
to
go back there or something.
You might.
Eventually.
I would like to.
I mean,
go
we did
there.
tell the hags about it. I feel like that's gonna bite us in the ass.
I also feel like it's going to eat away at.
Also, you guys killing old Olga.
Mhm.
Really?
If you guys had befriended her, that would have opened up an entirely different part of the campaign.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
There was. I should probably ask that question. Never mind. I'll ask.
Also, if one of you had died, there would have been an interesting encounter with something that might have happened.
Oh. Do you want to tell us? Because we
No.
passed that, and we did kill Olga. So
One of you might have. If one of you had gotten dream invaded by Olga,
Mhm.
and you spared her, she would have taken you to hell
Ooh.
to get yourself cleansed at a spa.
Oh, wow.
To learn more about that spa, please play the Descent into Baldur's Gate module for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. It's very good.
The real Selby asks, who do you ship?
DMX Organized Party.
Whoa.
Oh, so you like
It's a rare pair.
Perfect Cat 1 asks, which character is your favorite so far? I'm assuming that's open to player characters and NPCs.
Ooh. Off the top of my head, Captain Bradford Hornsbury.
Do his voice. Do his voice.
It is I, Captain Bradford Hornsbury! I have a big fucking gun!
That's not where any of us thought that sentence was going, and you know it.
That's not what's in my pants, though.
Do we count Haramus as a question?
Was anyone...
Yeah, I guess.
Alright.
And in case anyone was wondering, Captain Bradford Hornsbury is actually based off of somebody.
Oh, really?
I believe it is a minor character from the Blackadder series.
Mm.
Might as well. Go ahead.
Yeah. Haramus says, what about with this campaign? Like after you're done with this campaign.
New campaign.
Sure.
Perfect Cat 1 asks, how long did it take you to create this world?
I've been building the setting of our Nexius for a good few years now.
Nice.
I only started getting it, but the idea of Celestina as itself has been sitting around for almost about the same time. I only went in depth with the whole surrounding countries and the actual system for a while. I just wrote down for a while. I wrote an idea for Immortal King because that's the big myth, is that it's the same king despite the fact that thousands of years have passed.
Okay, I feel like you also mentioned that the Skyvon, have been around in your head for a while too. Violetta is for people who are.
Yes, I have three homebrewed races that are available on DriveThruRPG for free. There's a donation option if you want. I mean, I'm less inclined to receiving payments for that stuff because that's just something I want out there so that people can see what I do. The Patreon for the Winged Crew stuff is something entirely different. That's something that we constantly put work into. Yeah. I haven't been writing for my modules and content for quite some time because I've been working on this. And I'm not sad about it. It's just, priorities happen. But back to the original thing. Yes, there's the Kutal Chill, the Skivanen, and there was one more. It's been so long.
One of those the buzzers.
Yeah, Kutal Chill. That's the Kutal Chill.
Oh, wasn't there lizard people?
No,
there are lizard people, but I don't know if they're.
Austin did art for all three of them. I'm trying to remember.
Do you know what they? You know what they
What's it called again? I've looked at one.
Cloud people, bug people, what's the third one?
The orc people?
Or
Oh, that's right, the Trollkin.
Yeah.
Yeah. That knowledge was also in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, the Trollkin are like, because I noticed that there are no. I think when I made it, I was thinking how there was no race that had regeneration, and I was like, okay, what if it was like some kind of troll race, troll humanoid race?
So sleeping through it asks, whose character do you have the most fun with?
Torturing you is pretty fun.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to help.
Honestly, everyone has their own like things I love playing towards. I like putting you in uncomfortable social situations for Carrie. Alar's screwing with Alar's entire sense of being was fun. Rocking Vasilisa's entire worldviews. Anything with Selvi. Making Theoletta think, and by extension Mel.
Faintly in the distance. Hey!
And forcing Polyast into situations in which they're the only one that can really be stealthy.
Nice.
There is nothing more stressful than if you fuck up, everything gets fucked up.
Zombie Raptor, Jolene, asks, would you ever DM a full group of Kenders? Kenders?
Like children?
No, Kenders like the race. The racial option. Can you explain a little bit?
I don't think Kenders are an option in 5th edition.
They aren't, but would you?
What? I think they're like little hobbit people, right?
They are essentially children that have no set concept of ownership, so they constantly borrow things.
So how most people play a hobbit.
Oh god, I might want to do that.
I'm gonna take a little side tangent here. I don't have a problem with this, but the player's handbook interpretation of what a race does and the player in general interpretation of what that race does is entirely different. Like hobbits and halflings are supposed to act like how they do in like Lord of the Rings, where they're like very at home, reserved, and calm. But of course, since everyone plays a halfling thief, they don't act like that at all. And of course, the tieflings are supposed to be scorned and few and far between, and they're supposed to hide their horns and hide away, but they don't. And so I was like, "Hi, I'm gay. I'm gonna fuck everything. Everything." Dragon fucked it. Witch fucked it. Dragon witch fucked it.
Yeah. Okay. Sleeping through it asks, one time we shot and killed a badger that you said was some kind of entity. Can you elaborate on that?
Do you remember that?
It was just a badger.
It was just
I rolled a random encounter, and the purpose of the badger was to be like, oh, that badger was acting kind of feral. Something weird must be going on here, and it was the existence of a hag.
Oh. I really thought we'd like.
No, I said that to fuck with you.
Oh, nice.
Dallas asks, what is your favorite moment that your players have done?
I like it when they listen to me.
All the memories that you hate flowing through your mind, trying to get past all of them.
Everything.
I'm gonna fuck everything.
I'm gonna fuck everything.
My favorite thing? Let's see. That's difficult. I've been DMing for about 5 years now.
Nice.
Yeah.
5. And
Maybe do it in respect to this group.
into this group?
And
You
then
both,
also-
yeah.
Yeah, just one for this group first, and then like another for.
I remember someone did something that made me very happy. They did something very smart. It was I think a few episodes ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so what did Vass do?
Yeah. Was it Vass or Alar? What happened?
No, it was the it was you.
Alright.
When you saved Selvi with the
God.
with aid.
Oh,
Best
God.
moment
That might act
Going feral.
like that might actually be also the best thing that's happened, because that was the closest call and the great that was good combat, good storytelling, and that was just a smart move.
God, I was
That was
so
an
happy.
amazing
That was
moment.
amazing.
The whole party went feral for a little bit.
I feel like that was honestly the best. I've been playing D&D for about 5 years, and that was probably my favorite moment that has ever happened to me.
Love.
But in terms of the best moment I had DMing, it was when my first and currently my only fully complete campaign ended, and I actually achieved one thing I'd always wanted.
Which was?
To make players cry.
Oh.
I cried like a bitch.
You can do your.
You were happy.
I am so
Yeah.
stressed right now.
I was happy, but also it's bittersweet because Ogby died.
Well, he's.
Spoiler
Obviously, it was,
alert!
like hard. No.
I literally set up where at any time you could play that character again.
I know. But like it's just like bittersweet irks me because whenever you grow to love a character and then it comes to the end of their life, even if it is of natural causes, you're just like, you lived a good life. Sleepy Shoob asks, which character do you hate the most?
Oh no.
You.
Staring at you, you were looking.
No, it's not. This is a character, not person. They would be thinking character.
You're trying really hard not to say a player character, aren't you?
No, I'm thinking.
I want a player character edition.
I want a player character in an NPC.
Someone's feelings are gonna get hurt. It's probably gonna be mine, but that's okay.
No.
No, I don't dislike any of the player characters.
No, I know.
You guys piss me off every now and then, but
No, just vote one.
this too may pass. It's kind of hard for me to like think of a character that I dislike because I made them.
Yeah.
You didn't make any that you wanted to hate?
Character that I made that I wanted to hate.
No, but I feel like if you make a character you want to hate, you don't have to.
Sorry for drawing attention to it.
Okay, answer is Harrison loves all the dicks he makes. Let's go on.
All the dicks he makes.
There was one villain that I made a long time ago that I was glad to see die.
Ooh.
It was a series of villains. Because they were all just like a bunch of like self-serving assholes. Remember, it was a Broomstick's Old Brigade in the last campaign. Yeah, I hated all of them.
Valid.
But I loved making them, and I loved hating them.
Valid.
Yeah, they were a bunch of like basically a bunch of people who, a lot of them, they exploited their leaders' trauma in order to get shit done.
Yeah. The real Sylvie asks, what's the most stressful situation the party has put you in so far?
This party?
Yeah.
Besides the elevator.
1,000 yard stare.
Oh, hold on. I'll do a play-by-play. Here, I'll be me, you be you.
Me?
Yeah.
Why me?
All right.
What did I do?
So the wereboar is attacking, and you know for a fact that it can't be hurt by non-magical means. What do you cast? Lesser restoration. No!
Don't call me out like that.
It's what she deserves.
I was a baby.
You've been DMing for 5 years, you
I've
said.
been DMing. I've been playing
You've been
for 5 years.
playing
God, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. I'm just mad.
Can you repeat that so we don't
let's
hear?
see.
Zombie has the next one.
One of the most stressful situations in this party I had that I can think of is basically a lot of stuff towards the beginning where they just weren't getting a lot of things. But yours was specifically stressful because you came to me saying, "Yeah, I know D&D. I played all the time."
I know. I'm so fucking sorry. Sometimes
No, it's fine. It's fine. No. Keep screwing up so I can keep holding it over you.
Jolene wants to ask a question that would specifically make me shout, Jolene, no. She did. What do you think about Vasilisa wanting that priesty man's? I fucking hate Jolene all the time, actually. Why am I friends with them?
You mean the southern one?
Yep.
And polyester.
I designed him to be sexy.
You did? You
Yeah.
did that on purpose? Okay, cool.
You be silent with your Red Dead Redemption playing ass.
It's different.
No, it's not.
Here's the logic,
He's modeled after that.
but it's not a priest.
God.
I'm not gonna lie, that went completely over my head until her and polyester.
Real talk, from my point of view, the priest that's secretly a badass. He's not though. He's a pacifist.
You can ask yours if you want.
Oh, Sleeping Through It asks, can you drop your hair care routine?
This one?
Yes.
Oh.
It's hard to ask that, I don't really.
So, sorry. When I first heard drop, I thought you meant stop doing it,
Oh, no.
and I was about to fight because I put too much work into this.
No.
So I get it professionally dyed. I spend about $100 on it. I know it's crazy to do it like once every 4 months or so.
Damn.
And it's worth it, honestly, because it stays, and this isn't ever going to fade. I might re-dye it to a different color because I've got like dye in the back. But what I do is to keep it, because normally whenever you get your hair dyed, it kills your hair. And I remember the first time I got dyed, and you can remember this happening, I had to keep washing my hair because I couldn't take it because it felt so dry and brittle. So I looked up what to do, and what I do is I get like a cream, before I get into the shower, about 15 minutes or 20 minutes before, I just put it all in my hair and it sits there. Then I go in, wash my hair with cold water, use a special shampoo and conditioner that is specifically meant for dyes. And then when I get out, I put in a leave-in conditioner, and it keeps my hair soft.
Nice. Shauna,
Can I have a quick follow-up question?
Go ahead.
I thought purples were supposed to fade quickly into silver. No?
Purples and blues stay in your hair for fucking ever.
Oh, fuck, I want purple again.
Yeah, meanwhile, me and Free have plans with some manic panic coming up.
Literally, he started talking and I was like, okay, I'm learning things today.
Shauna asks, have you ever created a character that you specifically made to blow the campaign apart?
A character made specifically to to take control, or just like upset the entire balance?
Redirect or fuck shit up. An easy both.
I made a god.
Julie, no! Sorry, go on.
I don't remember the fun fact. I don't remember the name of the god, even though he was such a certain god. I remember his original name. So I have this weird habit of taking bad campaign things that like go over poorly and turning them into something better. I've only used one of the recycled things once, and that was when I was creating a god of betrayal. Let's see, what was his name? Ch'Ungaz, yes. His name was Ch'Ungaz, and he was a serpentine god of betrayal. And the entire time, and previously in this campaign, I've been hyping up, these are, because I was running 2 games simultaneously, and they were all fucking off, doing their own thing. And at one point it became very clear, they're not just existing in the same environment, they're the antagonists of each other. One party killed another party's player character's dad.
Oh, damn.
And his entire like, okay, what the heck is going on? What's happening? And it became, and my original party didn't know what was going on. The new party, which was supposed to be like a throwaway like B team, ended up becoming the main antagonists for a very long time.
Cool as hell.
They killed a lot of good people. Yeah, that was insane. And one of the first things I did was, and here's a little freebie proud DM moment. I made an Oathbreaker happen. Because I made him kill his family.
Damn.
Yeah, when the player character who was playing a paladin killed his family and had to become an Oathbreaker because of because of insinuating circumstances. No, he had to do it for a reason.
No, but I mean, like, as a paladin, you can't keep your oath and kill your family.
It was with the line. Oh. The thing was, his god told him to kill his family.
Oh, how the hell?
Hey.
And the entire circumstances made him say, "I'm breaking my oath."
What god was it?
It was an Egyptian god, the lion one that eats blood. Sekhmet, yes.
Damn.
And he's approached by a new god that says, "You've been betrayed. I need people who can betray. Come work for me, and I will give you power beyond your imagining." Ooh. And I revealed that the god was one of his old characters.
Oh my god.
Same player.
It was the same player. Ch'Ungaz was a bastardization of the nickname he gave himself, Chungus. Because
oh my god.
He played a Yuan-Ti pureblood named Quetzalcoatl, and he had the charlatan background, and his false alias was named Big Chungus.
Damn.
And so I took that stupid joke and I fucked with it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's king of emotional manipulation.
Yes!
Right?
So much.
Stasis Captain asks, what is the most cryptic hint you can give us about Selby's ring of mind shielding and the soul within? Just make it as cryptic as possible. Take your information and make it super cryptic.
The key is a past that none of you remember.
Oh.
So the key is a past that none of you remember?
The key is a past that none of you remember.
Well, none of your characters.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you right now.
You know, it's almost 8, but I want to keep going. This is fun.
Yeah, this is fun.
Perfect Cat 1 asks, have you ever cried because of a campaign or player?
Yes.
Can we get the story? Or...
I cried tears of frustration and joy at the end of my last campaign because it was beautiful. The story was great, but the ending was so painful.
Damn.
Not because of emotionally, but because I fucked up real bad.
Oh no.
Everyone was at the table just having a bad time with the combat.
Oh, that sucks.
So luckily, I had installed a gimme in case that happened, but unfortunately, it meant that one of the player characters could never see a player. So the way they defeated Chungaz was they said his true name, and the caveat was the person who gave the bard the god's true name said, if you say this name, you can never see your friends again.
Holy shit.
And then Mulip disappeared.
Oh
yeah,
my god.
which honestly had like a lot of really good storytelling ramifications for our characters. It fucked Melodious up.
And then here comes another cat bard who says, "Hello, my name is Bulev."
I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that was Austin.
Yeah. You played with that. You played with it. Remember, their last name was Bulev.
Oh, I didn't catch
Who
that.
was the third?
Was that their
Because
personality?
like yours was like blue.
Was that the character's personality?
I don't think so. You said that was different from anything.
It was a different personality, but Austin, for some reason, will only play Tabaxi bards! Or at the very least, they'll expand into some other Tabaxi spellcaster. Austin, if you're watching, you cause me pain.
Okay,
Goddamn furry.
So we're skipping Jolene's question. We're going
No.
to...
No.
Jolene asks,
Read it.
I'm
do
letting
any of the characters have a butt plug in 24/7?
fucking hate.
What's the next question?
Why do you think I...
That's a player choice. I don't decide that.
Flipping through it wants to know who was the most overpowered character from any of your campaigns.
Chungaz. No. Monad Kazint, the unfathomable. I made a elder god that actually there was another campaign I finished earlier. The only reason I called the last one the first full campaign is because it was more long lasting, and the first campaign I ever finished was like basically okay, we meet every week and everyone levels up every 3 sessions, and it was like completely on rails. His name was Monaz Kazunt, and the Unfathomable Understanding. And basically the party's final boss was an elder god who was in the midst of basically sleep paralysis. And he was just having nightmares and stuff. And they had to beat the shit out of him to make him wake up. And here's the thing, if you're going by Call of Cthulhu rules, I know different game. In Call of Cthulhu, if you see an elder thing, there is a good chance you will just instantaneously go insane and die.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
Oh, well, Jolene, yes! I like that question.
But I guess in terms of like stats, the most overpowered character I ever made was Chungaz.
Okay.
In terms of like in lore, it was Monaz Kazunt. Actually, it might be Mr. Crowley. I'm sorry, Master Crowley. I can't call him Mr. Crowley anymore because of licensing reasons.
Okay, Kat wants to know which player has the biggest breasts. That's another player decision, though.
Me. No.
I feel like it's Selby.
See, it's a trick because...
I feel like it might be Selby.
I feel like, no. Well,
It could either, it's not vast.
See, I feel like it's big.
It's
so, like,
definitely not Alar.
I feel like they probably have, like, muscles going on over here, but I imagine...
Well, they also have a high constitution, so that means a high fat and, like...
I feel like Thea would have a lot going on up here.
And here's the thing. And here's the thing. Yeah,
Hey!
and also, pecs does mean bigger breasts.
Okay, true. Wait, did you just say yes, it's the?
Yeah.
See, at first I was like, I feel
There
like
you have it.
would have something going on, but I'm like, not compared to Thea. Now, Thea would have...
I'll just make an NPC that has huge habanglangdas.
Four
Four
people. Why does Selby sniff panties?
I do not sniff panties. I don't know where this lie has come from.
It came from me finding you sniffing panties!
Did you? Or did you assume?
Welcome to D&D TMZ.
I'm not the one who... Well, we just read that fanfiction, man. Come on!
Okay. Delica, Dirk, all the people
I
you've
haven't
ever
slept with
met.
Delica yet!
Yet!
You haven't slept with anyone yet.
As far as you know.
Yes, but you
I'm God!
but you have collected quite a few boyfriends and girlfriends.
You have like 8 boyfriends.
First off, I haven't had a single girlfriend yet. So fuck you.
Yeah, Dalica's not interested.
Yet.
Yes. Jesus.
I'm gonna bribe Harrison with as many sweets as I can, but god damn it, she's gonna be.
I don't accept bribes as a DM for very, very personal reasons.
Oh, tell that story.
Of course you don't.
Tell that story.
When I was at UTD,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah, that's the first bad part. When I was first trying to get into playing D&D, I was so desperate to find a party to play with, I did some pretty asshole things. I say asshole, it was basically, this was back when I had absolutely no social aptitude, and I basically just hung around D&D tables, hoping I might be able to play. And one of the biggest times I got like upfront and angry with someone was when, out of nowhere, a person showed up with an amulet that summons a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I was like, how'd they get that? Oh, they helped me fold laundry.
What?
And I said, what? Yeah, if you help me do chores and stuff and help me fold my laundry, put up my clothes, then I'll give you free stuff in D&D.
That's not good. Don't do that.
And I said, and I was like, that's not fair.
See, it's like, I can kind of see it in like, what's it called? Okay, fine, you helped me with something pretty big. I'll give you like, you can collect an extra crossbow bolt next time you have a what's it called thing. But not fucking, yeah, okay, you murdered some people and you got like 30 gold pieces because you fold a shirt.
Okay.
I imagine you running around with a table strapped to you, going up to people yelling, you want to play D&D. See, you say that, but I did do that.
What?
Well, I didn't have a table strapped to me, but I did carry on every D&D book ever on me whenever I went to conventions.
Oh, man.
And that's because here's the thing, though. They had Adventurers League rooms, and I actually did end up playing.
Okay. Zombie Raptor asks, would any characters, NPC, or otherwise have a panty collection?
I imagine you running
Zombie!
around the table strapped to you, going up to the table yelling, want to play D&D?
That's what I just said, Ark.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's what Herman said.
Yeah.
I know, that's what I just, because I was reading it.
Oh, okay.
it's Zombie.
No!
Yeah.
What's the character most likely to have a panty collection? Thee, just by coincidence.
Okay,
Yeah.
valid. It's art
Yeah.
supplies. Thee has a panty collection, but it's for art.
That's purely by coincidence. When you strip enough by, some stuff gets left behind.
Okay,
I mean, she collected too many ass bones and just some of
Now
them
that's Joey's old character.
Yeah.
ass bones.
okay, well that's actually pretty on topic right now, because the next question is also from Jolene. Which NPC is most likely to have a collection of tiny stones shaped like dicks? NPC.
No, I feel like Thea would also do that.
One of the
Miss Frizzle.
one of the religious ones.
My first thought
Norgles?
was- It said NPC. How
Oh,
why are
NPC.
you looking at me?
Most likely to have a small collection of dick statues. One of the scholars?
Magnet?
No, not Mag. No, he's an arcane scholar. Like one of the ones like in the tower.
Oh.
And I'll tell you why. Because in history, one thing that historians don't like talking about is the fact that there are so many dick statues.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. How do you say that?
Haramus?
Haramus says, who has the biggest dong? Answer my question.
Who has the biggest dong?
Who has the biggest dong?
And wine, yeah.
Barton.
Harry, you spelled
Yes, Barton.
Harry, you spelled your girlfriend's character's name wrong. How dare you?
Barton? Fuck.
Martin? Fucked.
Oh my god, Jolene, please stop.
What happened?
What NPC is secretly a nymphomaniac?
None of them. They're very upfront about it.
Okay, true. Who has big dick energy?
All of them.
So, okay. Let's see. Sleepy, do you want to ask yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sleepy Shoe asks, what is the most ridiculous thing a character has achieved or done?
Oh boy.
Let me tell you about the one time I made a mistake and said, "Hey, do you guys want to draw from this deck of many things?"
Oh yeah.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh, that was so fucking good though.
Yeah, anything that happened with the deck of many things. Although that wasn't necessarily like a player choice. Oh! One of them built a body.
Oh yeah.
One of them built a flesh golem.
Ooh. Like Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah. Don't talk to Austin about flesh golems. They have a creepy obsession with it. Ever since I said, "Hey, do you want to build a body servant?" And they were like, "Yes."
Do you want to ask your own?
I have them on film. The Halloween special video. They say on camera, "I love flesh golems."
That sounds questionable.
It is.
Next question. The real Selby asks, what kind of campaign would it be if the entire party became werewolves?
Ooh.
That'd probably be a big part of the quest, like the main quest, like to be cured. Are you talking now? Of course, that would be very short.
Yeah.
Do you mean like if they all like succumbed?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, everyone would become neutral evil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, not a lot would change.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like.
Your character.
I mean, no one would take physical damage.
Neutral evil for
Everyone would take physical damage. If anything, there'd be an escalation of stuff. If you guys were neutral evil and you were more aggressive, you'd probably like end up becoming like criminal.
We would have definitely
Joined the rebels, yeah.
Yeah, you guys would have definitely become like criminals.
Yeah.
Wow.
God, that'd be a very interesting change for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not.
Sleeping through it asks, what was the stupidest thing that somehow worked out really well?
I don't remember what it was specifically, but I think it had something to do with Uncle. No, I remember a stupid thing that worked out was, so remember when I said that that the secondary party killed one of the main party dads? Uge reincarnated them.
Oh.
And they came back as a dwarf. They were originally an elf.
Wow.
Yeah. Volwyn Fenra, the elf wizard that I met, had a very interesting backstory, and so many things happened. Like his elves have a thing called the blessing of Corlan, which means that once after every long rest, they can change their sex. And Volwyn and his dad had this ability, and when Volwyn's mom randomly dropped dead, and his father blamed himself for it because the reason was tied to his criminal background, he went so insane that he used his blessing of Corlan to turn into his wife.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Would you like me to skip some of the shitposty questions because we do have a pretty good one?
Slight
Yes.
follow-up question.
Come on, guys. I've entertained your lewdness quite enough.
Tone it down a little.
Slight follow-up question. Does therapy exist in this universe?
Yes.
Really?
Thank God.
It's called adventuring. That's group therapy.
Oh no. Oh no.
Can I have a one-on-one session?
You know, they actually do that now. You can actually, D&D's now been reformatted so that you can have a one-player party.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. Fuck you, first edition.
Let's be honest, the early editions of D&D have not aged well.
Sleepy Shoe asks, have you ever felt bad emotionally manipulating a character, and if so, when?
No.
No. I was wondering what that.
Follow up. What is your favorite moment where you emotionally manipulated a player character?
The Oathbreaker.
Okay.
I can tell you how fucking excited I was.
It was very exciting.
Because I went in thinking that wasn't going to happen.
Okay. Next question is from Dalasabu. You briefly mentioned the issues with other countries like Umbra and Bayazid. What are the other issues going on in other countries around Celestina?
Ooh.
I think Bass mentioned hers, so that's
Also,
public.
before you answer real quick, Dalasabu, who are you? Do we know you?
I don't think we know them.
Hi.
I don't know.
Thank you for joining us.
We apologize if you're someone we know.
Okay, well, go ahead with the thing. I know that.
It must be someone we know because they're well informed about what's happening in the campaign.
Maybe they watched everything,
Yeah,
Harrison.
maybe
If you have, I'm very appreciative.
Yeah,
maybe we
are.
have fans, Harrison.
I would love that.
Fans outside of Jolene.
But no, let's see. So in the surrounding countries, not Neosapius, that comes much later.
Comes much later?
Neosapius. I ran a campaign. I ran a short campaign in that setting. But no, Sapius, which is to the southwest of Celestina.
Which, for the record, was not a country that we were able to choose from for our players' characters to be from.
For what?
No, technically Thea's.
Okay.
There, when we had the barbarian trollkin playing before, they were originally from Sapius, and they were. Here's what's happening in Sapius right now. It's a very new resource-rich city-state country, and it's currently facing a problem where there is a rising cult of human supremacy.
I remember that.
Okay.
To the southwest. No, that's Bayezid.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, that was
Yeah. Southwest is Umbra, and that's just a place run by a Tyrant King where all the evil shit goes to play around. Bayezid is currently having a it's basically a bunch of clan wars because its government is dissolving because their single monarch is dying.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a succession crisis. To the north is Yedtorun, and that has been having a long class war between the bourgeoisie and the working class.
The birds work for the bourgeoisie.
Yeah. Yeah, the only difference between that and actual real-life Russia is that the real-life Russian one happened for a few decades. This has been going on for centuries. And for Beohart, everything is okay on the outside. There is no. It just seems like there's a low crime rate because all the crimes being committed are espionage and collusion. You know, stuff that doesn't get found out easily.
The way I thought of it when I picked the country was like Ba Sing Se from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
That's very close.
Oh, okay, damn.
It is basically meant. In all honesty, Beohart is actually not too bad of a country. It's very progressive. It's just there's a very political thing. Like the entire country is built around gaining political control.
Okay,
you can use that political control to murder a bunch of thieves that accidentally sold one of your priceless artifacts.
Oh, I'm looking so forward to that.
Oh god.
Sleepy Shub asks, how hard is it to create and run an open world campaign as opposed to having a rather linear one?
Here's the thing, I've tried twice to make open world campaigns and people just ended up creating rails for themselves, so that's what I think it is. Whenever a person first comes up to saying, I want to make an open world campaign where they can go anywhere, here's the thing, the party just doesn't go anywhere. Like, when you create a character, they have goals and things they want to do. So there's going to be rails. That's just something you can't avoid. Now, if you want to create something where if you create an environment where they can just like fuck around and do anything, then that's just a thing where it's like, oh yes, I play Bumbo the dwarf and I hit things with a hammer. It just, it's a campaign where not a lot of thought was put into it. And that's fine if you just want to fuck around and like smash things. But at the same time, if you're a DM, in that kind of situation, don't like stress over and like create a deep lore because that's not what they're there for. Just say, there's a dragon that comes down from the sky. And I'm the kind of person who's like not used to doing that. Like, okay, where did the dragon come from? What are its motivations? Where's its lair? But I guess I'm getting off track. If you want to do like a straight up like go anywhere open world type setting, don't worry about putting a lot of thought into it because if your party is fucking around and not staying nailed down in one place, they don't care about the details. However, if they do care about the details, the rails will make themselves, and that's okay.
Okay.
Okay. The next question is from Space's Captain. Besides Alar, because we know about the whole being related to the Barton people, do you have any plans for specific player characters?
Are you kidding? All of them.
that stresses me out.
If your character has an unresolved plot line, it's going to come up.
Oh no.
Oh, I have no regrets about sharing that one thing with you because I hope there's something that can be done with that. Zombie Raptor wants to know if you would ever hold a one-off viewer interactive campaign. Ooh. Which I think would be very interesting.
I've seen that happen before. Back when Critical Role was still on Geek and Sundry, they had a thing where if you donated someone, you could have like a random player interaction thing happen. In terms of like things where it's like a long-term thing, like what the C team does for Acquisitions Incorporated.
They did say one-off.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. And for one-off, you know what? We're not well known enough where we could probably manage something like that.
Yeah, I feel like if we had a lot of viewers and we knew we'd get good interaction, that would be really
part of 2021.
If we were like really popular, we couldn't do that. because the chat would be flooded.
Also, we can't do it right now because Jolene would make everything about sex.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Which means we could do it. It's not
Speaking of Jolene, they want to know, would you ever make a TikTok for the Wingnut Crew?
I would take over Harry's job.
I would think
I would be part of that.
There's a very specific reason that I won't get a TikTok, which I won't get into.
Okay, you can talk to us after if you would like privately. Because I'm
You do
curious.
it when you want.
You know?
Oh, okay, so I'm gonna read it, but I'm gonna have to rephrase it. What moment did you really have to think on your feet real quick? Basically, what was your biggest, oh fuck, I wasn't ready for this moment while DMing?
Just this campaign or in total?
Either one.
Yes.
But both.
Off the top of my head, I can think of a moment I wasn't prepared for. The party with Uncle, the first like full campaign I went with, the one that was like completely scripted. I had an unanticipated outcome, which was by the end of it, although the party succeeded in their campaign, by the end they all hated each other.
Oh no.
No, it was great storytelling because they all had great reasons to.
Oh.
They all breached trust. One of the players adopted a baby that was birthed from Tiamat, and
What?
and half of the party wanted to kill it.
Ooh.
I would want to kill it.
I mean, fucking Tiamat. That's no fuck with
Wow.
And that was, in terms of a very like think on my feet moment. There's a lot of them. I invented a lot of characters on the spot.
Ah, nice. Any that we know?
There was a lot in the last campaign. Rizendor. The elf who sold bread.
Oh yeah.
What about within this campaign?
Not quite yet. Oh, the fucking little Kuoto that like hugged Vasilis's leg. I love that little dude. I fucking love that little dude.
It's like,
So it's like roll a raw charisma, and I was the only one who scored high enough to be worshipped.
Yeah.
Oh, that was it. Just imagine if more people passed.
Perfect Cat 1 asks, did you have an emotional attachment to a character you created?
So many.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
That's
Well,
really.
you're supposed to, man.
You're doing it wrong if you don't. I can't say that.
I get very sad with the fact that whenever I make a character and I put so much work in them and they're great, and I think once the party leaves, I'm like, this character's never gonna happen again. That makes me very sad.
Damn.
Like I put so much work into this Kenku barkeep who I named Growler. He was a gruff Kenku who used to be part of a theater troupe, and that's the only reason why he was so spooky, is because he had overheard people rehearsing playing a villain.
Did we?
But he also threw axes at people, so. And it's like the party saw him for all of 5 minutes and then they never spoke to him again.
Did they give him a stupid?
No, his name was Growler.
No,
It's funny because it's a type of booze and it's a noise, which is what Kenku do.
Dalsabu asks, are all the D&D deities present in this campaign, or are there ones strictly omitted?
I make my pantheons.
Yeah.
The only ones that exist that come from other like sources are the racial pantheons, because those persist through almost every single setting.
Dalsabu, you ask very good questions.
Yes, thank you.
Like Coralon, like I said, the blessing of Coralon. That Coralon is the elf god throughout most D&D editions. Of course, there are differences. Like there's the Undying Court as an elf deity for is it Eberron? It might be Eberron.
That sounds familiar.
I know for the Dark Sun campaign there are no gods. I don't. The official D&D campaign that I know the most about is Forgotten Realms, because I read the Legend of Drizzt books. Because he's hot.
Valid.
Dalsabu said like asterisk blush, and I thought he was trying like they were trying to like replace one of their words. I was like, what word in that question?
Are there blush deities? Or are there ones strictly blush?
I think we have probably like I don't know. Next question.
Would you ever implement a god of hamsters? That's our only current remaining
That's the
question.
only Jolene question that hasn't been about panties so far.
No, that was
They're technically.
TikTok and the interactive question.
Oh, true.
I think there actually is a rodent god.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's an evil mole for the gnome pantheon.
Is he the giant rat that makes all of the rules?
Funny story. I almost ran a homebrewed monster for the giant rat that makes all the rules.
Yes.
Because I saw it and it was so well made and it was so interesting, and I was really into that meme at the time. Sadly, the situation for it never came up.
I don't know why I took a bite right after I started asking a question.
What?
Oh, okay. Flipping through it asks if you could change the alignment of one of the party characters, who would you change? Or what would you do? Stairs in neutral, good.
Stairs in chaotic neutral.
No, chaotic neutral boring.
Honestly, I normally don't condone that kind of thing, but if I were to do it, I would either change Thee's alignment to make my job easier or your alignment to make my job easier.
Oh, damn.
Thee's for a very specific reason, and Alar's... Oh, no, Alar... Is Alar chaotic neutral? Yeah, chaotic neutral just means I do what I want!
Yeah. Okay, never mind. Carrie's chaotic neutral now.
Chaotic neutral is basically the way to justify doing random stupid things.
Okay.
What's a little bit different than chaotic good? Because I'm almost always chaotic good. And I was like, you know what? Be chaotic neutral this time.
Yeah, the running joke in the D&D community is like you play chaotic neutral when you don't want to when you don't want DM saying, "Would your character do that?"
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The real Sylvie asks, anti-authority seems to be a running theme in this campaign. Is there a reason for this?
Because that's the theme of the campaign.
Okay.
Jolene, you're chaotic neutral, I can tell you that right now.
Chaotic evil.
No!
But I will dive deeper into that. No, I had a big plan for you guys to like go in and see, because that's your big thing. You don't like authority.
No.
And everyone has like had some issue or run-in with the powers that be that makes them uncomfortable. Some for criminal reasons, some for being a serial killer reasons. You know what you did!
Nothing good!
Cameron just wants to be in the campaign.
But yeah, no, that's a big theme in the campaign is you guys like going in and questioning the powers that be. But now that you realize, oh, the things that are questioning the power are also bad, what do we do now?
Yeah. The answer is that we join a Monster Hunter Guild and we spend as little time in that city as possible.
We start.
The answer is that we make our own rebel group.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Honestly,
and then we destroy the first rebels, and then we overthrow them.
Oh, and we bring fucking Lumberjack Daddy to my knees. I'm like, who's the useless one now, bitch?
Whoa!
Like, part of me is like, I really do want to go back and just see if I can talk some more with Tattoos guy, the serial killer.
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk more with him. He seems very interesting.
Yeah, because he's a serial killer.
Yeah.
Were you sad or disappointed that we didn't join the rebels?
No, I was neither sad nor disappointed. I basically set it up where I had plans whether or not you guys did or didn't join.
Yeah.
I will say the way I originally set up the campaign was the spine, which was to say the original like thought of path was you guys joining. But I was like, well, that's very railroady, so I'll give them opportunities to like make it maybe not so appeasing. I'll set up opportunities for them to like maybe find things that they don't like about it, and that was why one of the first things you noticed was, hey, these owlbears attacked us for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had plans since the beginning for if you guys didn't want to join the rebels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sleeping?
Was there a certain town or story arc from the campaign that you want to revisit?
Besides the white one.
Yeah, because we already talked about that.
The therapist really wants to be in the campaign.
Okay, Harry, normally I'd say, sure, come play in my D&D game, but we already have 6 players. Like, 6 is my maximum. I don't know how Matthew Mercer does it. He ran with 8.
God, that's terrifying.
You ever want to...
Anyway, continue.
This is a different...
But what was I saying earlier? There was another question.
What is a certain town or story that you like?
Oh, the revisiting thing, yeah. You guys haven't been to a lot of towns, honestly.
We've been to like...
Oh, there it goes.
We've been to like 3 towns, yeah.
The Dream Inn burned down. The village with the fish was just like a fishing village.
Moose Meadow.
Rusnerva, you know what? I'm thinking, if you, I have plans if you guys were to go back there. No,
But we don't have to.
yeah, but you guys have no motivation too. I mean, I thought there would be a motivation.
Yeah, Miss.
Am I ever going to see you again?
Okay, I didn't realize I was allowed to do that, but okay.
It's D&D. You do whatever the fuck you want.
World,
This is my first time!
Dirk is going to be so sad.
Okay, I looked into that. So the rope counts as something you're holding or carrying. Imagine that that levitation isn't like a force pushing upon you. It's a zone that's wrapped around the entity. So once a second person comes into the equation, that is something that the person being levitated has to take care of.
Which brought back the thing I realized. Why didn't we just have
Cast it on Thee, who is strong.
Anyway,
Because when you I figured this out because I used to like get so mad. I was like, "Why it's so obvious?" But then I became a player. When you are a player with a player character, your IQ just gets sliced in half.
Yeah, me trying to fucking cast Lesser Restoration.
I'll still give you shit.
Shelby does.
anytime I have to be social.
Anytime Mel tries to do anything as a barbarian.
Anytime Mel.
Okay, but once we're done with the whole goblin thing, unless you do something to completely throw it off the rails, maybe we can go back and see Dirk if you insist.
It's up to you. If Carrie doesn't want to, that's fine. I just don't want you to think like, oh, we can't backtrack.
Okay.
I don't think
Dalazabu asks, what's a plot twist in any campaign that still haunts or amazes you?
Smile.
Oh no.
We're the bad guys?
Ooh.
You know,
And also, wait, they're the bad guys?
That was
a good answer. Had the rebels been watching us? Or
Oh,
just...
wait, no, never mind. Continue.
Had the rebels been watching us, or did they just notice Alar once they got there?
They kept tabs on you once you entered the city.
Because of Alar, or?
No, that's what they do. It's like, ooh, new people.
Okay, so Jolene is really gonna die on this hill. Could a race of hobbit-sized hamster beings theoretically be invented for a campaign? Think of Hammond from Overwatch.
Hammond is an actual hamster. Is the size of a hamster. Hobbits are this big. And actually, if you in the Dungeon Master in the Dungeon Master's Guide, they give you an option to like slightly tweak races.
What? I'll explain later.
So I remember. Does anyone remember? I forget what the name of it was. It was like something guard. It was like a bunch of mice, and they were like medieval and shit. I want to say like Red Guard or something. It was this dope show that I remember as a kid. I remember little or nothing about it, but it was a bunch of mice and rodents, and they like fought with swords and shit. And I remember someone mentioned that in the DMG you can like tweak how races appear. Like you can make hobbits just look like rodents, and you can run a Red Guard campaign. I think that's what it's called, Red Guard. But yeah, if you wanted to run a campaign where hobbits just look like rodents, you can.
Oh, Cat says hamsters wearing human skin. The real Selby asks, why do you refuse to have elevators in D&D? This was seconded by Harmon.
Because of Griffin McElroy. No.
Also, Harmonist says, I'll be quiet in the corner and just cast spells. I'll be a gnome that no one pays attention to. And then Cat responds, Harry can be stinky.
When I bring Stinky back, yes.
Roll to knock something off the shelf.
Yeah.
Fucking God, Stinky fuck.
What was the previous question before the
elevators?
Elevator question, yes. Why would there be an elevator? It's set in a medieval.
Why do no one have lifty or upsy friends?
Actually, there are elevators in this setting.
Oh no.
Yeah, they're on the opposite side of the world.
Oh.
That's what I was thinking. I was like,
No, in Blackcliff.
somewhere.
The reason, so it's a city built into a series of steps, and so they use types of elevators to get up and like switch back paths and moats that fill up with boats to get up.
Wait a minute, hold on. I just remembered in the fucking session 0 that is never going to be aired because we didn't film it. We had a dumbwaiter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I loved that one show, by the way.
Yeah, you tried to kill children.
I did!
Listen.
I hated those children from the
They were
beginning.
scary.
They were ghosts.
So Vass decided that Carrie was the one she trusted.
I know!
And then that didn't carry over to the main campaign at all.
Yeah. Not at all.
Carry over.
No, but really, the Halloween one shot was really good. I liked it.
Oh, should I skip
Not
elevator
Halloween
question?
one shot, the other one.
What?
Should I skip further elevator question?
Yes.
Okay. Thoughts on animal companions? Can Carrie get a wolf, please? I said if you multi-class and ranger, maybe. That's what I said.
What's your wisdom score again? Oh wait, don't bother. It's below 10.
Your wisdom score's below 10? What?
Yeah.
Mine's an 18!
You're a cleric!
Yeah, but it's an 18!
Carter,
What's your
the only
strength?
people that could possibly get
Damn! Got him.
Carter.
Wait, what does wisdom have to do
Only
with
two people who
animals?
could possibly get
Because wisdom is the stat used for animal handling.
Oh.
No, not even. Or
This is
salvaging.
the shit I don't know. I want to ride a wolf!
That's not how that works.
Fuck off! I'm sorry, that
The
was
only wolf you're going to ride is one of the people in the fucking armor.
Okay, any more questions?
Oh, that's right, I forgot.
Questions?
Um,
We have more questions.
He doesn't want anyone fucking in elevators during the campaign.
Listen.
it's me, Upsy, your lifting friend.
The next fanfic idea.
You
Well,
could ride a dire wolf, that is a thing. But that doesn't change the fact that you can't get an animal companion.
I know.
I mean, you can get a pet, but
I want a pet.
I mean, what's his face got a baby bullet?
Got a baby wolf.
we don't talk about that for several reasons.
Fuck the elevator cat? What?
What the fuck?
Oh, cat! Fucking elevator!
right.
We missed what Kat said and skipped straight to Jolene. Oh my god, that was terrifying. I found the best reaction image of you.
Yeah, that's me.
Show me.
Oh, I see one. Have you created any creatures yourself? Yes.
Many of them.
One of them is being drawn by Ark.
Ooh.
Also, one of
Of
them
course,
is
the
in the
furry's
campaign.
drawing the animals.
Funnily enough, it's not furry.
What?
Okay, the scaling.
It's the exact opposite of that.
Scaly boy.
No. No.
Fleshy boy.
No.
No. What?
Other boy.
Metal boy.
No. It is it boy?
Is it even
Is
boy?
It is a thing that exists and makes. Oh, that's right. I made the Mothman.
Oh yeah, the Mothman.
I made them fight Mothman
Yeah.
for one of our Halloween one shots. Oh, for the Halloween one shot with Mothman. Mothman got curb stopped by Scooby Doo.
What?
Literally the most clutch thing happened with Scooby-Doo.
Okay.
Happened with.
Okay, so context. Anyone who watched the Halloween special from last year.
Google, shut the fuck up!
Hey Google, stop. That's right.
Hey Google! I appreciate you, but we don't need that energy right now.
Hey Google, play Never Wanna Give You Up!
How about we go back to the
Okay, the Halloween one shot, yes.
Yes, every year I have a Halloween one shot. Everyone comes back and we play for Halloween. The first one I had, we did Phantom of the Opera, but I call it Spectre of the Theater. That was fun. Then the next year, I said, okay, here's the thing. It's a mystery, because it's always a mystery. And, okay, for this one, you guys are parodies of the Scooby-Doo gang.
Oh, I like that.
And instead of the mystery machine, it was the conundrum cart.
That's so cute.
And there was plenty of jokes. Scooby-Doo was a shifter who was half werewolf and had the wolf totem for a barbarian. So they looked like a giant dog. And Shaggy was a bugbear.
Shaggy was a bugbear.
Yeah, because they're covered in hair.
Aww.
And yeah, Towards the end, there was a big twist where the guy pretending to be the Mothman turns out wasn't the real Mothman. The real Mothman came by and almost killed all of them.
Literally killed everyone except Scooby.
Yeah.
And Scooby was like what, like 1 HP?
Yeah, you had 1 HP.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And I had to tweak the because the Mothman was supposed to eradicate them.
What? Did anyone play Scrappy Doo?
No.
Your question is nice.
Yeah.
Where was it? Okay. Are there any creatures you want to see more people play?
Warforged.
Warforged.
No. Warforged is my favorite race.
Cool as hell.
It's a vaccine.
No, I just want to see people play races that don't normally get played, like.
Humans.
Human.
I made a human fighter. Am I original?
You literally. To be fair, I encouraged you down that path because this is your first time playing D&D.
Like, also, I did look into other characters. There was a specific one. There was one specific one that I really liked and was genuinely going to play, but then part of me was like, what if this is just like something you're not supposed to have in this like area? I didn't know how to place them or a good backstory for them, so I was like, I'm just gonna stick to being basic. I
made a Loxodon bard. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
I didn't know that.
Obmud was great. I loved Obmud. But no, there's not any specific race. I just want people to play things that don't normally get played. Like, no one plays a lizard folk.
I was considering that too. I was considering them.
Now, I played a lizard folk. You played a kobold.
Oh no, that's right, it was a kobold.
And I won't go into that story because that's...
Kat asks best character backstory.
Is it like a stone golem?
Best that I've ever had? One that I made? No. No. Still side tangent. I make characters so often, and the sad part is I know I'm never going to get to play them.
Aww. Me making my barbarian.
Did you get the Cat's question?
Hello?
Hi,
Joey!
Joey! Wait, come over here, Joey Cam! Impromptu Joey Cam.
We're in the Q&A portion right now.
Highly sexy.
Oh, honey, you don't have to try.
You don't need to try, buddy.
Huh? Okay, who said what?
I said you don't need to try.
3 people said you don't need to try.
I said, oh, honey, you don't need to try.
What 3 people? You did!
Yeah!
But didn't you say he wasn't sexy?
I did say that. I'm so sorry, I feel bad!
What was the original question? Oh yeah, best character backstory.
Best character backstory. We got distracted by...
Let's see. I know the worst one was the one that stole butts. Welcome back, Joey. No, kidding.
Oh.
Let's see.
I'll look at that.
Probably would have been one of the ones from the last campaign. For this campaign, I wanted to keep it relatively simple. Griffin's was expansive.
Oh yeah,
Griffins was crazy.
Griffin McElroy?
Let's see.
Now he'd outclass.
I'm trying to decide whether or not it was no, I shouldn't do backstory stuff that I had to decide for the player and like was a big surprise. Like when the Dragonborn realized that he wasn't descended from a royal line of Dragonborns, he was descended from a royal line of a human who turned into a Dragonborn.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Ugu's was very simple, so not that one.
Hey, Chad.
Best.
Laughter.
Honestly, it might be Damsian's.
God damn.
What's Damsian?
Damsian was the paladin who went Oathbreaker.
Ah.
Because he had such a rich backstory, and when we explored it, like one of the big things about his character that like panned out so well was like, oh, he's stupid. But then along the way, very early in the campaign, he found a headband of intellect.
Oh.
And it became very clear the reason why he was so innocent is because he was stupid.
Oh my god.
And so when he stopped being stupid, he started.
Oh, that's rough.
He stopped being innocent.
That's the character shit that I like so much. What about among the 6 of us? Who has your favorite?
Yours is actually pretty okay.
Yeah.
Me or
From what I know about it.
Selby's.
Oh, is it? I was down for Jolene. Fuck you.
Jolene said Andrew Dab.
Yeah. Well, ALR technically didn't have a backstory. Again, that was a choice that I had to make it. Carrie's is literally you stole something and had to run away. Like simple backstories are great. I'm just like making a elaborate a backstory.
Playing favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
a backstory doesn't make the character, it's the character choices along the campaign.
Nice.
So if your character is simple, like if you want to, like,
A lot of room.
like the dwarf dad figure who just wants to go on one last adventure, that's a good character.
Yeah.
But they have no backstory, and that's fine. But for this party, I'd have to say... Either.
Heard me asking this, I didn't expect it to be me, so I'm not gonna be hurt if you.
It's Theoletta.
Yeah, it might actually be Theoletta or Selby.
Oh,
If you don't say me, I'm gonna cry. Never mind.
Dallas wants to know what are some upcoming one-shots, holiday or otherwise.
That's a very good question.
I like Dallas Abu's questions.
Yeah, that
And
was
follow
good.
up from Harry, would you let someone else DM it?
Yes, please. I want to put... Okay, the whole reason I became a DM is so I could get people interested in D&D, so someone else would DM, so that I could play D&D.
You got too good at DMing.
Yeah.
Harrison, to be fair, I would love to DM one thing for you, but based on that company, we can't ever show it on camera. Because they will take us down for copyright infringement
What the
for a
fuck is your
campaign
plan?
they don't own.
What the fuck is your plan?
Okay.
You can say the name.
No, I can't.
What, is it Disney related?
No. Well, no, I don't think they're owned by Disney.
He said the D word.
It's related, isn't it?
No, I don't.
We play as the Empire.
Yeah, you play Edge of the Empire.
Free from Disney in that regard.
No,
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Nintendo.
Oh, well,
Oh, wait, no, they've run World of Warcraft campaigns for D&D.
Yeah,
There was an entire promotional thing for it.
yeah, there was, but now that's no longer valid, and they've actually, and
He
based on how
probably has.
that company has been doing recently.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would love
Yeah.
to for all of
Yes.
us to like the same group, but Carter DMs.
I would be down.
Yeah.
I could get.
Honestly, if I were from a completely professional and like DM headspace point of view, not someone who like desperately wants to play the characters they make every day by accident, but they can't help it. So that's why their DM is secretly a writer, because they come up with campaigns where a bunch of party members who happen to be poison resistant fight a green dragon, and the green dragon surrenders because I'm sorry.
Jeez.
God
That was
damn.
a great choice.
If I were to have a guest DM, it would have to be someone who either I know is experienced or I've seen DM before.
Valid. Totally valid.
I was gonna say, Carter's experience, but then I remembered.
Not
what
that
did-
experience,
what did
and
you
also
cast?
like given the situation you brought up earlier, I totally
Carter,
understand why you would not.
what did you cast?
Fucking lesser restoration, which is not a thing that you can. Yeah. Okay.
I would hear the lycanthropy with the boo-boo healing spell.
Shut up! I was asking. I wasn't saying I will
Jolene
cast
wants
her.
to
No, that's not the next question.
Joey.
Cat's question is next.
No, Jolene.
Oh, Joey.
Do you want to ask any questions, Joey?
Would you? Harrison, would you make a Rick Astley NPC?
No, that's not the one. No.
Who's to say I already haven't?
Harrison, would you make yourself, or have you made
That
yourself an NPC?
The one I asked was before.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You scared me.
I'm sorry.
Isabel Jolie, do they really count?
No, that one was cat.
I have never made a direct Rick Astley reference NPC, but I have made some allusions to that. In terms of self-insert, fuck no.
Okay.
Okay, so you answered two
Answered
questions.
both of them.
If you made a self-insert NPC, what would be the difference between him and yourself? So you wouldn't do it. So.
Closest you're gonna get to a self-insert NPC is Master Crowley.
Yeah, that's right.
Harrison?
Because when Master Crowley was excited that damn scene was turning, Harrison was excited.
Yeah.
Some of that was acting. Some of it.
Yeah, I can tell.
Kat is really into this self-insert stuff. Harrison, would you make your self-insert NPC a woman to see tits?
And then Jolene.
You wouldn't see them!
In your mind.
What is this, the fucking Scooby-Doo movie?
In your heart, you would.
God.
Yeah, I can see myself naked.
Oh, the real stuff, yeah. Name your biggest gripe with 3rd edition, Harrison. I fucking dare you.
With 3rd edition?
Oh no.
It's really overcomplicated. That's basically it. What it boils down to is what I don't like about 3rd edition and even 3.5 and Pathfinder. They're good systems, but it's very overcomplicated and not it's not initiate friendly.
That's fair.
Okay, Jolene asks, Joey Cam!
No.
Joey Kim.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Mysterious.
That's
Sleeping
he
through it,
plays
asks-
every night.
If you want to see my face, you gotta go watch our shitty Edge of the Empire.
Yeah, if you want to see Joey's face,
Watch our Sunday night shit.
Okay, Sleeping Through It has a request. Joey and Harrison arm wrestle.
No.
If you could either get to Vancouver.
Well, actually, I haven't been working out in a while, and you've been doing yoga, so maybe.
Is that this Sunday? Is that going to be losers night?
Actually, an arm wrestling competition would be funny.
For losers night,
Yeah. Yeah.
No. Because if you win, your ego is gonna be so boosted.
Well, I beat you when we were at both all at UTD. The only person I couldn't beat was Sean and Nick.
Yeah.
And Sean I understand because Sean is stacked like pancakes, but Nick surprised me.
Yeah.
But then I remembered he's like 6.5 feet tall and is like, God, I forget how huge he is.
Him and Sean are tall as fuck.
Yeah.
So I'm lost on question.
Kat has a request too. Joey and Harrison fanfic.
No.
Already written.
Shit.
Like, okay, so our friend group has been doing the joke ship of Harrison and Joy forever, and we both agree it's a bad ship.
I'm making it more fire-like.
Yeah.
Making it look
Also,
warm.
just in general, folks, don't ship real people.
That's really a bad idea.
Yeah.
Shit, me and Mel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Shit.
allowed.
Only if it's already canon.
Just because Joey and I act like a bickering old married couple doesn't mean we want to be in a relationship.
Oh god, that's so true.
Okay. Joey
My cheeks look so rosy.
That's a keyboard smash. Sleeping Through It says, thoughts on having to make backstories for characters. Which was your least favorite?
When I had to make backstories for like NPCs?
No, for a character.
Having to make it for a player character? For principal purposes, and don't take this the wrong way, Joey, it was actually making Berkey.
Right.
The only reason I had a problem with it wasn't because the backstory was great, and the character.
I didn't hear the question.
Oh, one of my least favorite experiences, like having to make a backstory for a character, was for Berkey because I understand why. I just didn't like the fact that I had to like basically do it myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in terms of like backstory.
You're more attached to them than I am.
Yeah, that was the problem. I made a character that I made Joy play a character that I was attached to rather than he was. Although Joy did have his own fun way of spinning it, which was every session Berkey had a different accent.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I like that. Harry, sorry, go on.
In terms of like, other than like having to like help a character with a backstory, like and constantly like battle with it. Was there ever a specific situation where I basically had to say, no, you can't do that, it'll be a problem? Yes! It was back at UTD. Someone wanted to play with a character, and it's like, my character was given a Ring of Invisibility by Baba Yaga. I was like, okay, we're playing a level 1 campaign, though. You can't have that. You cannot have a Ring of Invisibility, which is a legendary item. And he got mad and ran away.
Bro, what?
Wait, what?
You can't have a legendary item at level 1. This person tried to bring a legendary item.
Who?
This person, let's call him Dickie.
Dickie Mom.
You know who I'm talking about. Was not a team player. Moving on.
Okay,
Experience.
Harry, and I think this one is directed towards Andrew. Could I take you off Mel's hands, sexy?
Nah.
You'd have to
Get in line.
You can't pay enough.
You'd also have to compete with Mel, and that is a
That sounds scary.
yeah, that's scary. Mel.
And after Mel, all the people that hit
Harry's
on.
trying to steal your man.
Wait, Harry is?
Was that Harry that
Yeah,
asked that
Harry, no,
question?
Harry.
Oh God.
Oh.
Oh no.
Yeah, Mel's an entire garage full of power tools.
Movement.
Mel, baby, no.
She also cries razor sharp tears. I'm with you. It's...
Mel just rounded the corner.
Baby, you're my only. I swear, baby, you're my only one.
Where does Harry live?
See, Mel rides the perfect line of oh, so sympathetic and oh my God, they're terrifying.
I don't know how you do it so
You
well.
scare me.
This is beautiful.
Also, you don't have to worry about it, because I'm pretty sure Kat's gonna murder him before you get your
You scare me in my first.
No, don't tell her.
You scare me in my first interaction with you was you sitting on the couch in the living room watching old Big Brother episodes, and then I came over to finish character building.
Yeah. Harry is trying to change the subject, and he wanted. He's still stuck on that whole wanting to be part of the group, and he says, "I'll do it. I want to be DM. I love it."
Okay.
Harrison is the proper term choking or strangling. Depends on what's going on. I played Borderlands too.
No.
What?
I played Borderlands 2. Choking is when it.
Jolene, not Joey.
Oh, okay.
But ask, does Harrison's hair actually smell like grapes? We gotta know.
Not right now.
Is Harrison edible? Does he taste like burnt steak?
Jesus Christ, what has this devolved into?
According to cannibal surveys, human meat is slightly sweet.
It's like sweet pork.
Yeah.
But considering how he talks, he's probably quite bitter.
Salty.
My vote is no.
Aw, you're salted pork. Pirates love you.
Yes. Yar, I be on a pirate ship.
Yar.
Ooh-ar.
Shauna asks, so how do they plan on putting that fire out?
Yeah, Shauna doesn't apparently know how fireplaces work.
When the fire burns, it goes away.
Hi kids, we're going to talk about fire safety for a moment.
Okay.
When it's in the fireplace, I just let it go out because like, what can I do? It's not going to hit anything. But if I'm out in the forest, I put it out like a civilized human being and don't set Australia on fire, you stupid fuck.
I love how you're thinking that people that are...
Yeah, it might have just been a bushfire. Let's just happen.
7 people were actually prosecuted for it and found guilty of it.
Oh shit, really?
Don't get me wrong, like
Holy shit.
it was like an actual bushfire that also started, but they helped instigate it.
Oh, really?
That's a hell of a lot of damage caused over just some manscaping.
Right?
Imagine being responsible for all those fires.
Well, not all of it,
Not all
but
of it,
the fact that it was so dry because of climate change. That's why it burns so easily.
I mean, that is the reason.
Yeah.
This has been Fire Safety with Andrew.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming by, tall, skinny, Smokey the Bear.
You're welcome.
Wait, 1 second.
Remember,
Harry
only
is just
you.
determined to make things worse, and he says Tulip already being made. Harrison and Joey fanfic doesn't happen.
Delete.
Harry, no! You can take Andrew. Leave those two alone.
Okay, Dallas Abu asks.
Not even hate fucking.
Dallas Abu asks, what inspirations did you have making this campaign?
Thank you, Dallas. We were
Thank
trying
you
to
for
make this
asking
normal.
fucking questions.
Thank you. A lot of things happen that just like I'll be sitting in the car. Like sometimes I'll be listening to an audiobook for Drizdo Word, and I'll think, oh, that seems like a good idea. What if I take a spin on that? A lot of times my ideas are, okay, here's the thing. What if I just butcher it and invert it? Like literally my thought process my thought process for Bayerheart was, okay, it's based on it's German society. The first thing that's going to happen if I make any military is it's going to be related to Nazis. Okay, how do I make a regimented society that is nothing like Nazis and can be seen in a positive light? So I did that. I created a progressive environment where the only persecution happens in very close, there's still persecution, that happens everywhere, but I made it so that it was still like a somewhat wholesome environment. Like one of the most recent things that happened in Bayerheart was that women were allowed to take office, and it's also one of the most racially diverse countries in that area. So another thing going opposite directions was I'll take it from actual D&D content. Sometimes I'll go parallel, but sometimes if I'll go perpendicular, it'd be like in D&D there's a big thing. After the rise of Tiamat, they had Storm King's Thunder, which was the god of all giants said, "Hey, the giants didn't do fucking anything when the dragons tried to take over Earth. I'm angry. I'm abolishing the class system for giants, and now you all have to fight." I was like, okay, but what if there actually was a dragon and giant war, which is happening right now?
Ooh. Wait, is it my boy, my girl? Desert Lady?
Desert
King? For my campaign?
Yours was somewhat?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Is that...
A little bit. It if I were to be running a campaign that took place during the Titan War, it would that would be one of the quests of objectives, is to go across the world to this ancient place and seek out these dragons.
Okay,
so Devlet says, I think Harrison's next hair dye color should be determined by chat.
Ooh.
It's either gonna be purple or pink. That's what I do.
Yeah.
That's honestly all I can really manage.
Okay, so
Baby shit green.
Sleeping Through It has requests. Request, sing for us. Request 2, sing Bohemian Rhapsody.
No.
Please.
No.
Okay. Okay, Kat has request 3. Defy gravity.
God, no.
Defy gravity?
Define
He's
gravity.
actually define.
Define.
He's not gay enough to define gravity.
It says request 3 defying gravity, so the song.
Yeah,
Not defy.
Oh.
I don't think there are actually any questions past that. It is currently 8:59. Do you want to do closing statements or you gonna keep going, wait for more questions, or?
I'll say I'll give one more prompt to see if anyone has any more questions. Now's the time. After that, and if there isn't any, then I'll call it for the night.
Okay, so Harry wants to do a disclaimer. No wait, that's not Harry. That is Jolene. Serious answer. I won't make fanfic of real people unless they consent to such a thing.
We don't. We don't.
Yeah, so they're not gonna do it. No.
Okay, and then what was the other thing? She also says, Harrison, if you have green hair, you can say screw the rules. I have green hair.
I'm gonna have green hair soon.
Yeah, I only want to be special and individual, so I ain't gonna copy no one's shit.
See, I was like really gonna do purple hair, and then I think the week after I was like, I'm gonna do it. I met Harrison, and I was like, God damn it, I can't do it now.
I might just do the green.
I will still do it if I want to, but like.
Right now it's kind of like a steely blue.
What? What?
Well, not in this light.
Your
hair is not steely blue.
Your hair's purple, my bad.
Oh, yeah. It's because it's wet.
Okay. I might wind up doing the green before you get around to doing the green.
I just want to be there. I just want to be there. I will help you do it.
Okay.
That seems like it's everything.
Yeah, I think we might be ready to call it a night.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in for our little Valentine special. Thanks again for our patrons for making this possible and all the people who donated. We will be back next week regularly with No Man's Land. Rather than this video going up on Sunday like it normally would, it's going to go up on Valentine's Day. And instead our Sunday slides are going to be filled with our new show, Landfillers, which premiered its first episode last week. I'm very happy with how the editing came out, and the character we made for Skyrim is very funny.
I'm sorry.
God bless you, jackass.
We just got a question. What does Harrison look like without facial hair?
He looks like a sad little nerd.
He looks baby, I'll tell you that much.
I look like...
Here, I'm gonna find that picture.
Yay!
Without facial hair, I look like... let's see, what's the best way to describe this? Yeah, pretty much. Oh, I look like I'm a speaking representative for a church.
Oh God, I can see that.
Absolutely.
He looks like you don't. He looks like he thinks you don't know who he is.
Oh no.
I look like my mother's name is Karen. I look like my excuse is, well, I went to Ivy League.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. There's a very good reason why I look very different than I did a couple years ago. Had different hair.
Kat says Harrison doesn't need facial hair to look like a sad nerd.
Jesus.
Wow,
Damn.
that's mean.
I am a sad nerd.
Aww.
Here's a picture.
Harrison,
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
not
my God.
baby.
Oh no.
Oh my God, truly baby.
Oh no.
Baby.
I still have that jacket.
Shit.
You have a lot of those old styles.
It's so weird to think that that's like the Harrison we knew for like the longest time.
Yeah.
Because this is only a rather recent.
It's weird that you weren't born looking like that.
Yeah.
It's a boy. Hello, mother.
Jolene says, Harrison, do you have big virgin energy?
I'm not familiar with BB.
No.
I'm glad you know it.
No.
She said it earlier in chat.
Oh, so you have little
Let me
virgin.
see that.
And then Kat said, I second it.
question.
You hurt his feelings.
Oh.
Harrison doesn't have feelings.
I look like Joven. What the heck is
I
a
don't know
Joven?
what that is.
I don't know what it is either.
Holden's, I don't know what that is. Joven.
He looks like the lead singer from Madness. This guy.
Oh, he's
Oh.
a YouTuber apparently.
Okay.
Come on.
Come on.
Come
I
on.
believe in you, Kim.
Hey.
It's not completely inaccurate.
Still.
I like driving in my car. It's not quite a Jaguar.
Alrighty. Okay.
Well, seems we've reached our stopping point for the night. So thank you everyone for coming.
Special thanks to Jolene for writing the fanfic.
Yes.
And Shauna co-wrote.
Oh, thank you, Shauna.
Thank you for putting me through that.
Thanks for Dallas and Joel.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah, how was that?
I had to take some creative liberties.
Have to.
He was a little bitch.
Oh, okay.
I yelled coward from the other room.
Give
twice.
me that fan.
We can tell, Jolene.
It was great, Jolene. Thank you.
I'm in charge of the next one.
Yeah, thank you, Dallas.
You were great.
Aw, thank
We
you.
hope you continue watching us. It's nice having you in chat.
Yeah.
There need to be a few normal people.
Also consider, all those big ones won't say you're pretty great. They're not going to single you out like we would.
Yeah.
True.
You can get crazier.
Yeah.
Think of the possibilities.
As always, we are the Wingnut Crew. Check us out here on Twitch, on YouTube. We have a Twitter, we have an Instagram, and we have a Patreon.
Patreon is what made this happen.
Yes. Oh, Harry, if you're watching, I have noticed that whenever you've been posting the videos for.
Right, come on.
No, it's fine. No, this is what he gets for instigating fan fiction.
Oh God, what the fuck did he do?
No, he didn't do anything bad. He's just been putting up whenever he puts up the tweets for the new episodes of our shows. He just puts up the thumbnail, but no link to the video.
Oh, Harry. I'm coming for your job, Harry.
The only reason I'm mentioning it here is because I thought I was going to see you today, but then I forgot you were working, so I'm sorry.
Jolene says, can you say one last thing in Magus's voice?
Poopy butt.
Just do the good night in the Maggot's voice, and then we end the stream.
No. Shauna says, Jolene, no.
Say poopy butt.
No.
That was God. Agreed.
Oh God.
You and I both hate God.
I like God.
He's pretty chill.
Why do you hate Austin so much?
I love Austin.
Austin.
All right, fine. One more Magus for the night.
Poopy butt.
Cat says composer.
Come closer to the camera. Joey, what?
Do our good nights that way, and then we end the stream.
Shh.
That's also God.
Wow.
Thank you once again, everyone, for coming by. We do appreciate your presence here, and we hope to see you again. Good night, everyone.
This just did him straight
Put us out, Joey. Cut. Joey.
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 Oh no, it's all falling apart.